Okay, this is the second video in our series on how to set up CAC, smart card authentication, or PIV, personal identity authentication. And right now, if you notice, we look at the login screen and we're missing a button right here, or we're going to enable a button that's going to allow smart card authentication. All of this information is in the installation guide for SBM, and if you look in the advanced authentication section for smart card authentication, it talks about the steps that we're going to go through. So a couple gotchas before we get started here that I have discovered in setting this up is one, when you're in Internet Explorer, there's a weird option in here under security and the zone that you're in. So right now I'm in the internet zone. If you look at custom level, scroll down till you get to this area right here. It says don't prompt for client certificates when there's only one. So I only have one, and with this enabled, I'm not going to get prompted for a client certificate. It's just going to try. So I kind of like to see the certificate first, just to see what it's going to look like and say. So I disable that option. All right, so that was my first gotcha. The other gotcha is in Configurator. Just come in Configurator and in the JBoss section, verify that you have port values set for this HTTPS one and the client cert one. I didn't have one in here by default, and that messed me up later. It took me a while to figure out what was going on. So that's the first one. Okay, so then the last gotcha is make sure you have Configurator closed when you make a change to any of these files. So in other words, if Configurator is open and we're going to come in here and according to the documentation, we need to make a change to this file right here. And the path is up here if you can see it. It's kind of long, but again, the documentation talks about it. So this file is right here. You're going to edit this just in Notepad. And if you search for the word client_cert, this is the section we are going to edit. And it defines a list of authentication types, and currently the value is nothing. So we want to use client cert. So if we copy that, paste it here, close this, and save our changes. And like I said before, make sure you don't have Configurator running at the time, because if you do, and you restart JBoss, your changes will just get reverted back. Okay. So the easiest thing to do now is just open Configurator, and now Configurator actually pulls that XML file value in. I just do this because it's easier to restart things, the services. Wait till this starts. All right. So again, with our the other one you want to make sure of, sorry, before we leave, is in the authentication area you have to have single sign-on enabled. So currently it is enabled here, and again, just make sure you have values in these port things. All right, so before I hit apply, the other thing I like to do when I'm setting things up is go to where the logs are, and if you look at this path right here, JBoss server default log, these are all the JBoss logs. And so what I like to do is go back to Configurator, hit apply, restart my services, and I go in here and I delete all my logs just so I can get a clean start with all of my logs. You don't have to delete them all, but that's just what I do. The one file we really are going to look at a lot in this process is this SSO IDP log that just got deleted. So if you only want to delete that one, that's probably fine as well. All right, so I'm going to pause this. Okay, so after restarting JBoss, we've come back to the login screen, and with that one change in that XML file, now we have this button here for Smart Card Login. And in a perfect world, when you click this button, you will get prompted with your CAC certificate or your client-side certificate. So when I click it, I get this option, And since I have 2 client-side certificates installed, I can pick which one I want to use, and we'll use this one here. Keep in mind that this is not going to work right now because we need to do more configuration, but the point of this video was to just get to this point where you can see the button and just verify that you do get prompted. If you don't get prompted for a certificate right here, you've got something else wrong. One thing I did notice in messing around with this stuff is if you hit cancel here or pick the wrong certificate somewhere along the line, what happens is this will just keep using the certificate that you had chosen, but you can go into internet options here in the content area and hit this button here that says clear your SSL state. And what that does, if you go back to the login screen, it will then prompt you again for which certificate. So anyway, another little gotcha that you might run into. And so we'll pick it up on the next video on how to progress with the rest of our steps.